Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's uh, session on virtual personal finance. This is run in partnership with the New Orleans Public Library's Summer Fun program. We're running these every Wednesday at 2 p.m. until the end of July. So for more information, you can visit our website at flightcoaching.com/summerfun. And on the NOLA Library's website too. My name is Alexander Bigby. I am the Executive Director of Flight. It's a New Orleans-based nonprofit that helps create free and high-quality financial education resources and brings them to communities around the city that need them. If you want to learn more, please also visit our Facebook page. It's Flight Financial Literacy You Take Everywhere. So this will be recorded and will be up on our website within 24 hours, same with the presentation. If you want to see our full list of previous recordings, you can visit our website as well, flightcoaching.com. We have about 20 different recordings from different sessions on all kinds of topics, including credit management, home buying, insurance, estate planning, and investments. So pretty much anything to do with personal financial education, we got it. So today's going to be a presentation. It should last about 20-30 minutes, and then there'll be a Q&A. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the comments box, and we will do them at the end of the presentation. I'll hand it over to our fantastic speaker, Ms. Phoebe Brown. She'll be speaking to us today about budgeting. So without further ado, Phoebe, I'll hand it over, and I will be doing the presentation slides for you as we go along.
Thank you so much, Alexander. And thank you once again for joining us for this wonderful event. I think it's fantastic that the library has Flight doing these workshops because it helps empower us and helps educate us during this pandemic and this time where we can actually spend more time with ourselves. So on today, as Alexander stated, if you have any questions or comments, please place them in the chat box or save them at the end of the presentation, and we will gladly answer those questions for you. So on today, as stated, my name is Phoebe Brown, and we're going to be talking about budgeting and money management, learning to live your best life with a plan. I am the Financial Inclusion Officer with Hope Credit Union. And to tell you a little bit about Hope Credit Union, next slide, Alexander. Hope has been in existence for 26 years. It was actually created in a small church in Jackson, Mississippi, and they had big dreams to help those that were living in underserved areas. So that is what Hope did. And 25 years later, we're located in 5 states, which is Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Louisiana. We do a number of things and we help a whole lot of individuals. The one good thing about Hope Credit Union is you do not have to belong to any particular place of employment or have to have relatives that are part of the credit union. Anyone can actually join. So if you want further information, my contact information will be at the end of the slide with my email and the office that I'm located in. So to tell you a little bit more about Hope, next slide, Alexander. Hope's mission is to strengthen communities and build assets to improve lives in economically distressed areas of the Deep South. We are located in the Deep South along that delta, so to speak. We actually help provide access to affordable, high-quality financial products and related services. So that's a nice fancy definition, but it's just simply to let you know that we're in the communities and we're here to build strength in knowledge and in products to those that are economically, let's say, not up to where they want to be. I don't like using the word underserved, but we know that that is the reality. But our mission is to help those individuals to be in a better place financially. So that's what we're going to take a look at today, budgeting. Next slide. You will see in this presentation, we're going to talk about defining a budget, and budgets give you control. And budgeting is going to actually help improve your life, as well as budgeting will help you secure financing. Budgeting is a tool that's going to actually empower you. Next slide. So here's a question for you. How many of you have a written budget? Now, rhetorical, but I really want you to think about it, because if you have a budget and it's in your mind, 9 times out of 10, you're not really following it. But if it's written down, it gives you power. It helps you to really see what you're doing, what your goals are, and what you're trying to accomplish. Next slide. So here, I give you a definition about budgeting, defining budgeting. Now, it's going to be several definitions here, but I want you to understand something about a budget. It is just a plan. Here I'll tell you, a budget is an estimate of income and expenditures for a set period of time. So you're looking at a time period and you're estimating what you're going to spend, but you're also looking at what you are actually spending. And then you're setting a goal with that. So a budget is actually just a plan of action. A plan coordinating resources and expenditures is what Webster tells you. Also, we give you another definition here where it says an estimation of revenue and expenses over a specific future period of time, and is used now and reevaluate. So even though you're going to collect the information, you're going to set a goal of what you're doing, you have to reevaluate, because we know every day things change. So if things change, your budget needs to change. So a budget is a plan, but sometimes things in your life can send you off track, but it's okay because you can come back to it and revisit it. So let's look at some reasons why it's important. Next slide. Why start a budget today? Well, first of all, budgets are going to give you control over your finances and your spending. If you put your willpower behind it and you become dedicated and committed to the cause, it will give you control. It will give you power to be able to do the things that you would like to do in your life, as well as do the things that are important in your life. It also helps you to become organized. Have you ever been looking for a bill, or you're looking for a receipt, or you're looking for things, you know, you're trying to make sure you were charged correctly or to return those items? Well, guess what? A budget is going to help give you that organization skill, because you're going to need it to plug the figures into the budget and to see if you're on track. Budgeting also helps you to achieve goals. Now, goal setting is really the first component to anything that you do. So you should have some type of goals that you're trying to actually achieve. Now, goals don't have to be something big like you're trying to buy a home or you want to buy a car. They could be very small. You may just want to be able to save $100 by the end of the month. You may just want to buy a bicycle or a new toy for your child. You may have been looking at something that you want that's going to cost you. So understand, no matter how big or how small your goal is, you need to have goals, because a runner does not get in a race and doesn't know where the finish line is. So that's the same thing with budgeting. Budgeting is going to help you on a regular basis get to the finish line. So it helps you to achieve. Budgeting will also build new habits. Right now, you probably have those bad habits where your organization skills are not good, you're opening mail all over your house, you're leaving receipts, not getting them at the register, so you have no clue what you're spending, or you're constantly looking looking at your bank account and looking at those apps to see if this purchase went through. But you have to be able to know that those purchases were yours. So budgeting will help you to build better habits to help you to stay in control and know that your purchases are your purchases. Budgets also help ensure that you will always have enough money to do the things that you need and the things that are important to you. Now, I don't want to use the word always because we know we live in a real life situation that always might not be the case. We didn't plan for a pandemic, so we might be running a little short. But budgets will help give you a buffer to sometimes be able to get you over the hump or to get you right to it till you can regroup. So that's why we're saying it will always. So we can use the word sometimes. I'm okay with that. Budget also helps you to work your way out of debt. That's right. When you budget correctly, you will start valuing money. You will start seeing it in a different light. And we know if we work on jobs, we have to put up with some things. So we work hard for our money. So working hard for your money, it doesn't mean that it always has to go completely on debt. It'll help you to get through those heavy humps. So it will help you to pay off debt, and it'll help you pay it off in a timely manner. I already told you, budgets are planned. So they also are it's a roadmap to becoming debt-free and to having less stress, because budgets will reduce stress. You'll know when your money is coming in, you'll have a better estimate of how much you're making and how much you'll need to spend. And you can stay within those parameters and not exceed those expenses, because now seeing is believing. Also, it transforms money into a tool. Remember, I already said that you're going to look at money differently. You're going to view it differently. You're going to handle it differently. You're going to realize that money is a tool that will help you to be able to accomplish and achieve the things that you have a desire for. Also, budgets will help improve your credit. How? Because you're going to already be planned to pay that bill. You won't have to worry about, is it going to get there by the due date? Because you're going to pay it before the due date. It's going to help you to start improving and carrying less credit, which is debt, and you will also be able to use credit wisely. Now, that's some powerful reasons to start a budget on today. Next slide. So I give you two pictures here, and I ask you, which would you rather, your money controlling you or you controlling your money? Well, I don't know about you, but I like the picture to my left. The gentleman is walking his golden dollars. Why? Because he has control over them. But right now, some of us may be in a situation where our money has us on that chain and controlling us. So which would you rather be? I'll deal with the golden dollar to the left. Next slide. Now remember, budgets are not foolproof, but it's a great way to get started and a great way to maintain your actual means. We all will have things that we need and want, plus bills, and more bills. So bills are not going to just mysteriously vanish. I just want you to understand that. Bills do come in the form of some necessities, like shelter, food, clothing. Those things are considered necessities. So even though you may have to pay rent or you may have to pay a mortgage, understand that that is a necessity, because you would prefer to live in a home and not on a dark street corner. So sometimes your light bill and water bill will also be what we call a necessity. It becomes a bill when we have to pay it and we're late, or if it's too much, but in reality, it is a necessity for you to have. Next slide. So, understand, getting started is always the hardest part. Getting started is the key. I often give the scenario about back when we were in school in English, and the English teacher wanted you to write that little short paragraph or two about your summer. What did you do? What did you experience? Where did you go? Getting started was always the hardest part because really you felt like you didn't have anything to say. But then once you got over that hump, looked like things just started to flow on the page and you realized that your summer wasn't that bad. And that's going to be the same thing with a budget. So try these steps. First, set realistic goals. Always make your goal real. Don't try to set something that you know that you cannot accomplish. So let's say, for example, you decide, hey, I'm going to save $5,000 in 3 months, but you haven't been saving anything at all. So what mysteriously is going to make you to be able to save $5,000 in 3 months? So it has to be real. 2, identify your income and your expenses. Now, here is where I call this collecting the data. You have to collect the information. So when you are going to do a budget, you need to know what's coming in versus what's going out. How do you determine what's coming in? May it be assistance from family, may it be unemployment, may it be from your job. You need to know what your net income is. Your net is your take-home pay. That is what you have to live off of. But you're going to also need to figure out your expenses. So here's where I suggest to individuals, get a receipt for everything you purchase. Why a receipt? Because a receipt is going to actually show you what you purchased. It'll show you where you purchased it, the date you purchased it, and what are the items that you purchased. I have individuals that say, well, I use my bank statement for that. Your bank statement is good, but it's not good enough. The reason why is your bank statement or that app from your financial institution, it's only going to show you where you spent your money, the date you spent your money, and how much. It's not going to tell you what you spent it on. And what we're spending our money on is the key. So you can't stop your money from going somewhere if you have no clue where it's going. So for example, groceries. If you go in the store and you purchase groceries, but yet you pick up some Armor All for your tires, you pick up some towels, you pick up some Tupperware. So Tupperware on tires are not groceries. So as you see, you need to know that because that might have been a one-time purchase that you're going to lump under groceries, and that's not a true grocery figure. So this is why receipts are important. If you cannot get a receipt, I suggest you get one of those very little small meat tablets and write down that information, the date, what it was you purchased, and how much it was. So that's things like the vending machine, or you go in the gas station and buy a bottle of water. Those things are important because every single penny of your money needs to be accounted for. 3, separate needs and wants. You need to separate those things because needs are things that we have to have in order to live comfortably. I talked about shelter. I talked about lights and water. Wants are those things that we can really live without. It might be a treat to ourselves. So if you are buying groceries and you're cooking at home, then eating out at fast food restaurants, it's not a need, it's a want. So on the flip side of that, you don't cook, there's no one cooking for you, so you must eat. So eating out will become a need, but you have to do it in moderation. Get the picture? 4, design your budget. Now here's where it gets not tricky, but you got to make some decisions here. Do you want to do a weekly budget, a bi-weekly budget, a semi-monthly budget, meaning like the 1st and the 15th or the 15th and the 30th? Or do you want to do a monthly budget? Now you got to stop right there. You can't go past a month. If you go past a month, you won't be budgeting. It'll feel just like work. You're not going to want to go back and look at those receipts. You're not going to want to go back to that need tablet. You're not going to have true figures. So understand a budget needs to be either weekly, bi-weekly, meaning every other week, semi-monthly, 1st, 15th, 15th, 30th, or monthly. I suggest new time budget trainees, is what I like to call them, start off with the way you receive your income. So if you receive your income on a weekly basis, do a weekly budget. If you get paid every other week, then do a bi-weekly budget. Just do it because you want to build up a habit. And sometimes doing it at a month and you're just getting started, it doesn't work out well for you. You fall off the wagon. So try it versus the way you're actually receiving your income, because you'll budget that money appropriately. Number 5, put your plan into action. So after you've decided your income and your expenses and your needs versus your wants, and you've designed your budget, now it's time to put your back into it and get to moving. Pick a certain time out of that week, if you're doing weekly or bi-weekly, however you're going to do your budget, pick a certain time that you're going to dedicate to yourself, to take those receipts and put them in categories, all your gas receipts together, all your grocery receipts, etc., and fill in the budget, and then start working on your targets. When you're doing this process, remember this: look straight ahead. Don't look back. It's time to stop looking back over your past mistakes and learn from them and move forward. So take one glance at whatever it was that got you here in the first place. Now look forward and move forward. Because here I tell you that a dream written down with the date becomes a goal. But a goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. And a plan backed by action, that is what will make your dreams come true. Next slide. Budgets will also improve your quality of life. You won't have to look like the lady to the left, wondering, how am I going to get things done? I'm totally stressed. You will look like the lady to my right, thumbs up, everything's good, I got money in the bank, my bills are paid, and I have a plan. That is what budgets will actually give you, that smile, that energy to say that, hey, I'm in control and nothing's going to get me off path if I just stay the course. Next slide. So budgets will also improve the quality of life. It improves your living conditions as well. Your family can move toward major goals. So major goals for you may be to buy a home or buy a nice car or even to travel. Whatever it is that you want to accomplish, and family could just be you. So it can be a single family household. But if it's just you and your children, or you and other individuals in your home, remember to include everybody in this, because that's going to help you to be able to accomplish what you want. Just like if you're going to the grocery store and you go in for bread, eggs, and milk, and every time you come out the grocery store, you've spent more than that, you have to determine, okay, am I the one putting the extra stuff in the basket, or am I bringing somebody along with me who's putting it in the basket? That way the family can all be on one page, or that individual may have to stay at home and not cause you to overspend. Saving efforts become possible instead of impossible. We never think that we can save, when in reality we can. Everything we do is about a sacrifice. So understand this. If you can save $1 per day, just $1, at the end of a 30-day month, you save $30. Or at the end of a 31-day month, you save $31. Or if it's February, $28. Last I checked, 28, 30, and 31 is better than 0. So start saving something, even if it's the change in your pocket. Start saving it, put it in a jar, and when it adds up, take it in and put it in the bank or the credit union. Savings will become possible, and you will see that you had it in you all the time. You become motivated to do the work. I guarantee once you start seeing your savings increase and you start seeing your bills get paid on time, no late fees, and you're paying them down and then paying them off, you will be so motivated to continue the work and to continue to learn more and move forward, to maybe even then investing or even getting investment property. Whatever the dream may be, no matter how big or small, you become motivated to accomplish it. Once again, I told you that you'll start valuing money. You pay off debt. You'll plan vacations and trips, and you'll be able to get those big ticket items that you've always dreamed of. Trust me, this works. You just get behind the wheel and drive. Next slide. So financing to buy and to repay on time. Understand that budgets won't eliminate you ever having debt, okay? You will have debt because there are things that you're not going to always be able to pay for with cash. So financing is not a bad thing, but you want to do it properly. And that's things like, for example, buying a home or taking those trips and traveling if that's what you wish to do. So you can now focus on securing financial products that will help benefit you and benefit your goal. You understand the process of money management, and it's going to be a much clearer picture for you. You'll be able to now decide and go into your financial institution and ask, I'm trying to accomplish this. How can I do it? Like for our individual, we actually have what they call a borrow and save. And a borrow and save is just like it says, you're going to borrow and save. So you can borrow $500, 250 goes into your savings, but the other 250 you walk away with, and you start repaying it just like a loan while building interest in your savings. So there are ways to do things, but you just have to be vocal and you just have to do the research and put your willpower behind it. Next slide. So develop your plan. So review your goals, because the goals are going to be key. And once again, they don't have to be big. They can be very small. Your goal could be, I'm just sick and tired of paying bills. So you know you want to pay out your debt. Review planning for life events and large purchases. Write those goals down too. If you know one day you want to buy a house, and it may be 2, 3, 4 years from now, you need to write it down. You need to get a picture of a home and put it there and say that this is what I'm targeting. This is where I'm trying to go. Then, as stated, choose your format. You have to decide, is it going to be a written budget or is it going to be an electronic budget? They have plenty of different apps out there. For me, I look like putting pen to paper, because after you've been on a computer all day, you sure don't want to get on one at night working on your own things. So I actually put pen to paper, but you can do it electronically. Just find one that works for you. I have one that I normally provide to individuals, which is an electronic one. All you have to do is plug in the numbers and it calculates for you. You decide. Also decide if it's going to be weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, or monthly. Set targets in your budget. Set targets for spending to help create savings, and life events and large purchases will be accomplished. So you have to set those events by putting them on paper and then putting it into the budget. And when we look at just a little snippet of a budget, you'll see what I'm saying, because these things will help you to be able to eliminate unnecessary costs and unnecessary interest if you plan correctly. So you're going to fill in the budget with your savings, because let me tell you, you must pay yourself something. If I have you to do a budget and you're not giving yourself anything to save, you're going to say, this doesn't work. I'm just spinning wheels. So that's why I said start small. If you can start small by saving something and then paying expenses and limiting your purchases, you will do just fine. So develop your plan. Next slide. So here I give you just a little sample of a budget. Here you will see to my left, you have that first section, which is income. Because once again, you got to determine what's coming in versus what's going out. Then you'll see the next section talks about expenses. These are the different items that you're spending money. Now, when I do my budget, I kind of flip this. I put actual first. So actual is going to be what you really spent during that time period. That's dollars and cents. So if you spent $182.52 on groceries, that's what you will put in that box. And then the budget section is what you intend for it to be. So here's where you're going to get creative. So you must cover the cents. So remember, you're going to always round up to the whole dollar in a budget. So if you spent $182.52 and you know that that's kind of low, but when you look back on the other times you went to the grocery store, it was like 210, then you're going to estimate your budget at being somewhere around 215. Get it? You never cut yourself to the penny. So you always budget for more. But let's say you say $210 is too much. I know I can spend about $150. So even though you spent $182.52 actually, and you feel you can lower your grocery expense to $150, $150 is what's going to go in the budget section, because that is your target. That is what you're trying to spend and not go over. So the difference of that, you will put what the difference is and any type of notes that you may have regarding why you chose to do this or what makes you think you can. Because at the bottom of the budget, you will then have your totals. You have your totals of what your actual expense were, and then you have your total of what your budget is going to allow you to spend. And then your difference column will show that, okay, well, this is how much I'm adding back in to my actual, what we call discretionary income. Next slide. So on today, the lesson is, yes, do budgets, because if you do not, you have to remember that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And a budget is a plan. So if you plan it and you do it correctly and put your willpower, you will accomplish, sky's the limit. You will start seeing your money now work for you because you're achieving the goals that you set out to achieve. So remember, plan, plan, plan. Because if you fail to plan, you truly plan to fail. Next slide. And once you have accomplished that plan, you'll see that you're living your best life. And that is your goal, to live your best life, not being stressed, not being worried, being able to invest for the future, being able to retire comfortably and not have to depend on systems and assistance programs because you have it together. It's not always the amount that you make, it's just how wise you use it and how wise you divvy it up into the different areas of your life and your goals. So the goal in living your best life is do a budget. Next slide. So at this time, if there are any questions, we can take those. I'm not sure if anyone had any questions in the chat box, but I hope that this presentation will help you, that it will give you the ability to accomplish what it is you're trying to accomplish. If you want to reach out to me, it's best to reach out to me by email. So you can reach me at Phoebe, and that's P as in Paul, HOEBE.Brown, BROWN, at hope, HOPECU.org. And I can gladly help you, or just reach out to Alexander and he can assist you as well as well as if you need my assistance, he can bring me in further. So our presentation was helpful. Share it with someone, the knowledge that you've learned today. But remember, if you want to learn more, I'm always available to assist you because I work very closely with Alexander. So I'll turn it over to Alexander now.
Thank you again, Phoebe, for a fantastic presentation. If anyone has any questions, feel free to type them into the chat box. I put Phoebe's email down in the chat box. Obviously, this will be on our website within 24 hours. And also, please, feel free to reach out to either myself or Phoebe, and we can get back to you with any kind of personal questions you might have around budgeting or any other kind of financial question. It looks like we haven't got any questions today, so I will hand it back over and say thank you, Phoebe, and look forward to our next webinar together.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right. Take care. Thanks.
Okay. Goodbye.